So I recently purchased a OnePlus 6T that I have here, and I got it for about $100 on eBay used. And it got me thinking, how much do you get for $100 versus a $1,000 smartphone like the OnePlus 13 I have here? I'm Mega the Tech Guy, and let's find out. To start off, I wanted to touch on pricing. And yes, I did get the OnePlus 6T for around $100. I think I spent like $94 and some change on this device here, which is used, so it's not brand new. And this device here does come about $1,000 MSRP brand new, but you can find it on deals on Amazon for around $800, $900, depending on the variant and the colorway that you go with. But in terms of that, I feel like there seems to be a really stark difference, especially with the OnePlus 6T being from 2018 going all the way here to 2025 with the OnePlus 13. You would think that there's some crazy contrast between these two devices, but I argue that there are some key reasons why they're a lot more closer together than you would think. And if you're new to the channel, hi there. If you're not, welcome back. But there are a few key features that I go over for these devices, and I will put up a list of them right here for you guys just to see and go over before we start the video. And if you guys could take a moment, I would really appreciate it if you like this content to go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get more content from me. Like the video and go ahead and leave a comment about anything that you see throughout this video. It would help me greatly with the algorithm, and I really would appreciate it greatly because I am on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and you guys would help me tons with trying to hit that milestone. But let's get on with the video. First, I'm going to touch on build quality of these devices. And where they're very similar is that normally the OnePlus 13 does come with a glass and metal construction. The one that I have here does have a faux leather on the back, which I enjoy that very much and is way different from the more modern devices of today, where it does fall in line if you get the glass variants, because the OnePlus 6T is also glass and metal. It does feel very premium, and although I'm not the biggest fan of this colorway with the mirror black, I wish I would have gotten a matte black one, or possibly even the purple colorway that they had, or the red one. But this one right here definitely holds its own in terms of build quality. It feels great in the hand, and it is a little bit more sharp than the OnePlus 13 feels in the hand, just because of how thin it is towards the edges of the device. It does feel a little bit sharper in the hand, but overall, the build quality and the heftiness of the OnePlus 6T is really impressive. It feels great to hold, and it doesn't feel any less premium to me than the OnePlus 13 truly feels in hand. Their weight is sort of similar, and yes, the camera module on the OnePlus 13 is much larger because it's housing much larger sensors, and the OnePlus 16 doesn't house very large sensors in general. But all things considered, this build quality is actually really nice on that device, and it feels good, like I said. And when you turn it around and you look at those displays, sure, the OnePlus 16 does show its age with that teardrop notch. And although its 1080p quality may suggest it's inferior to the OnePlus 13, the OnePlus 13 doesn't really edge it out that much when you consider that most of these devices come 1080p out of the box stock. So you're not noticing a huge jump in resolution that much unless you really turn it up. And yeah, you can kind of see it, and sure, the nittage of the OnePlus 13 is going to well surpass the OnePlus 6T, especially in bright lighting on a sunny day, you know. So when you're outside, you can notice it a lot more, where you're going to see a bit clearer of an image on the OnePlus 13, but the OnePlus 6T holds its own, and it does have nice color reproduction on that display when you're viewing content or scrolling or doing anything. It looks nice. I genuinely am impressed with the output of the display on the OnePlus 6T, and it doesn't seem as old as 2018 in my opinion, other than the teardrop notch, because it holds weight. It's not a bad display by any means, and the phone itself, in terms of that build quality, it feels great. And yes, there is a ultrasonic fingerprint scanner in the OnePlus 13 display, which is way more efficient and way better to use than the optical fingerprint scanner on the OnePlus 6T. But the fun fact is, the OnePlus 6T was the first mainstream device here in the United States that used an optical fingerprint scanner in the display. So it was new technology back then, nobody was really using it, and they were the first to really bring it to the market because they were actually in T-Mobile stores once upon a time here in the United States. And for me, that's really sad that they've gone away with that. If the OnePlus 13 was here in the States in T-Mobile stores or in Verizon stores, I think it definitely would beat out the Samsungs and iPhones of the world for sure, because of what it offers for its bang for buck, the OnePlus 13 is definitely the best bang for buck in 2025, in my opinion. I do have a video on that if you guys want to go check that out for the whole full review of the OnePlus 13. This one's going to focus more on the OnePlus 6T in terms of everything it has to offer, but this build quality, I'm telling you, on the OnePlus 6T is nothing to scoff at. It is so nice. Like I said, it's amazing in my opinion. It looks great. Everything about it, it just feels premium. It's not screaming budget by any means, or $100 even here in 2025. So for build quality, I think the OnePlus 6T is a major go in comparison to even the OnePlus 13 here. Next, we'll talk about experience with the OnePlus 13 versus the OnePlus 6T. And while here we are seeing a huge jump in terms of benchmarks versus OnePlus 6T versus OnePlus 13, you are seeing a huge jump in that department. And you would think that this thing just completely blows the 6T out of the water. And while there are a little bit of hiccups here and there because the Snapdragon 845 is a bit old at this point, it does have 8 gigabytes of RAM, so it can hold apps in the background pretty decently. There are still devices here running 8 gigs of RAM in modern times in 2025. And while they are more in the budget to mid-range sector with 8 gigabytes of RAM, and the OnePlus 13 has 16, so it's double the RAM and all that, and the Snapdragon 8 Elite blows it out of the water in terms of those benchmarks and how its graphical processing is and all of that encompassed into this device. Of course, the OnePlus 13 is quite a bit faster in most use cases, but the OnePlus 6T actually holds its own in the experience department. I think it has a lot to do with the Oxygen OS experience, and Oxygen OS 11 really does hold its own. I think this was the last Oxygen OS update that really felt like stock Android, and it really gave you fluidity and speed, and it felt like a very zippy device, and still kind of does here and now today. Whether you're scrolling in your social medias, sometimes it takes a little bit to load them up, but once you're in and you have it loaded into RAM, it's opening quickly. You can switch through apps like a breeze, going in between apps and just going into something and opening it up, and just using the device in general feels great. It's not like it feels like it's as old as it truly is. It doesn't feel that old, and it definitely holds its own against modern devices like the OnePlus 13. There's only a few moments in between opening apps between the two devices, and for me, that's actually pretty crazy when you think about it. I think it's just because it was a more lean OS at the time, and they're throwing a lot more into these devices with the OnePlus 13, with its Oxygen OS 15, and sure, it has co-processors to help it be zippy, and animation speeds, they really work on them, all that stuff, and yeah, sure, it's awesome, but the OnePlus 6T is truly no slouch in this department, and it feels like if you had this as your daily driver, you wouldn't be that upset here in modern times. The OnePlus 6T does open apps rather well, keeps them in RAM really well, and it can just go and do anything you really truly throw at it for the most part, including gaming. I did not have a huge problem with gaming with the OnePlus 6T, even in heavier-ish demanding titles like Fortnite or even Call of Duty Mobile. I think it holds its own tremendously well in those departments, and it's really impressive to me actually how well it holds up for those things, because you wouldn't expect it to, being as old and as cheap as it truly is at this point. And for me, that's impressive in itself. It can handle anything you throw at it, and of course you can play like Doodle Jump, or you can play Subway Surfers, and you can play all those little tiny games. But the fact that it can even hold its own even now in 2025 and play games and scroll around and go and open up apps and be able to just do any and everything you ask of it as a modern device, that's something that you don't really have to worry about. And for me, that's really cool. I am impressed with the fact that it can hold its own in this department. And for me, the OnePlus 6T definitely is a go in 2025 for its experience here. Next, we're going to talk about cameras. And sure, there is 2 cameras on the OnePlus 6T, and while that may seem impressive, it is not like modern standards by any means. This is something that it isn't the greatest at, but when we take a look at photos, it's not bad. It actually does, in moderate to great lighting, it's doing really well. Its dynamic range is solid. In comparison, the HDR holds up really well, and it takes pictures rather quickly. It's giving you and spitting out really nice imagery. I am really impressed with the dynamic range, like I said, and the color reproduction of this camera, and it does hold its own here in 2025 for quick snaps, and you definitely can get reliable shots, and there is a night mode on it if you wanted to get night photography, although it is going to be a little bit grainy and a little bit out of color when it takes lower light photography. It's during the day photography holds its own rather well, in my opinion. Even in portrait mode, whatever you throw at this camera, it is very solid. Sure, when we put it up against the OnePlus 13, it really doesn't hold up, and it doesn't hold a candle to the OnePlus 13. But look at the camera size difference between these two devices. Of course, the OnePlus 13 is going to blow it out of the water. Its optical sensors are just larger. It's going to let in more light. It has more processing power, so it can process the photos better and faster. So sure, the OnePlus 13 is blowing it out of the water with the cameras and can definitely take really amazing photos and showcases that here in flying colors compared to the OnePlus 6T. But again, the OnePlus 6T is no slouch in the camera department. It can take a really nice photo, and I'm really genuinely impressed with the output of these cameras on the OnePlus 6T. And although it's mainly using depth information, it's not a crazy telephoto, and it's definitely not giving you an ultra wide or anything like that. It's solid. It does give you a help in terms of processing portrait mode photos and just giving you a better photo overall taking experience on the OnePlus 6T. So while it is not a major go like the experience on the OnePlus 6T, the cameras are definitely a go here in 2025. Now, we're going to touch on battery life. And if I'm being honest here, this is a used device, so the battery doesn't hold up that well, and you are definitely going to need to charge it towards the end of the night if you're buying a used battery. It's just what it is. It's old. It's from 2018. So if you're not finding a fully refurbished one where they give you a brand new battery in it, expect the battery life to be not that great. It's unfortunate, but it is true. The OnePlus 6T's battery isn't the greatest, but I will say it does still have fast charging. So when you're charging it, it doesn't take super long to charge it. It takes about an hour to get it from 0 to 100%, which is pretty nice, especially from old standards. Obviously, modern standards, you got the OnePlus 13 here, and it's blowing it out of the water with its 80-watt fast charging. It can charge in about 37 minutes from 0 to 100, and you can just top it up really quickly and have a day's use. And it has a 6,000 milliamp hour battery compared to the OnePlus 6T's little battery. I'll put the number up here for the OnePlus 6T's battery size, but for the most part, yeah, this is definitely its weakest link, in my opinion, is its battery life, just because of its age, and most likely, if you're finding it around this price point, you're going to find it with a degraded battery, which is unfortunate, but hey, the fact that it even holds up at all and isn't dying in 3 seconds, it does last you most of the day, but as you get towards the end of the day, I'd want to say around 3-4 p.m., you're definitely going to need to top this bad boy up if you want to make it to the rest of the day. And for me, that's whatever. Again, it still has sort of fast charging, so if you get a charger online that is for OnePlus, you can definitely get one for that and charge it and top it up rather quickly and actually get a day's worth of power. And like I said, if you plug it in during the day and you plug it in for a little bit, go do something, go get some food, whatever it is, come back, you're going to have juice enough for the rest of the day and have it last no problem. So yes, it is not holding up tremendously well with the battery life in that department, comparatively speaking to the OnePlus 13 for sure, but I do think it solidly holds up here in 2025. It's not the greatest, it's not the worst, it's just not amazing, and that's perfectly fine for me here. I think it's kind of a go here in 2025 for its battery life. So all in all, the OnePlus 6T versus the OnePlus 13, $100 versus $1,000. Aside from the battery life, everything else holds up so good to me that I could happily use the OnePlus 6T as a daily driver here in 2025, and I wouldn't be that upset if it had to occur. Sure, is it going to be a little bit slower? Is it going to have a little worse cameras? Is it going to have a little worse experience overall? Yes, but it feels like a modern enough smartphone that I could do any and everything that I need to on it and more, and what I normally do with a smartphone anyway, it does all of that. It is a little pocket computer still, and it does hold its own, and even on Android 11, it holds its own with downloading apps. I haven't found an issue with downloading any apps as of late, so if I need to, I can use any and all of my apps, no problem. I was using it as my daily driver for a while there, and it still held up. I wasn't that upset that I left my OnePlus 13 for the 6T, other than the battery life was the only thing that made me miss my OnePlus 13, but any and every device does. So all of those things considered, yes, the OnePlus 6T is a great phone here in 2025, even for around $100.